Buckle up, America. Mother Nature's on a rampage and something doesn't add up. Hurricane Milton's barreling towards Florida with a fury that has left even the experts stunned. But here's the kicker. While we brace for Milton, the aftermath of Hurricane Helene is still unfolding. Bodies unrecovered, communities devastated, and a government's response that's raising more questions than answers. Is this incompetence or is there something more sinister at play? So stick around because the storm is just beginning. Now, folks, while we're facing down Hurricane Milton, let's talk about something that hits close to home, your health. You know, stress from these disasters can wreak havoc on your body, especially your testosterone levels. But here's the shocking part. There's a common food, something you probably eat daily, that's sabotaging your T levels even more than stress. It's not junk food or sugar. It's far more unexpected. Our friends over at V-Shed, well, they have uncovered this testosterone-killing culprit, and they've created a free video explaining it all. Head to sculptnation.com/NNN now to watch it. Your body will thank you. Now, we have to read those ads because they, along with you, keep this show going. Let's take a look at this. This just in right before we went live, this video from Naples. You could see it. It says Naples is already flooded and Milton is not even there yet. Naples is already flooded. This is pretty devastating. Pray for Florida. Of course, we've also got this picture has surfaced of Kamala Harris. And if you haven't seen it yet, when your belt costs more than what you're giving hurricane victims. Zooming in, you could see that is the belt. And that belt buckle is a $770 belt buckle. And how much are those checks she's giving out to those hurricane victims? $750. Pretty disgraceful, isn't it? Now, there's a sheriff out in North Carolina. Before we get into all the Milton stuff, which is just as important, we got a sheriff of North Carolina just going right in, ripping out the heart of the White House and Kamala Harris, telling them to stay out of the way and let the good men and women around the mountain area take care of our own. Let's listen in to what this sheriff had to say.
Message for the White House and how they've handled the situation up here in North Carolina. What would your message be, Sheriff Wright?
If you're going to do the things you've been talking about doing, we just assume you stay out of the way and let the good men and women around the mountain area and the foothills take care of our own, because you're nothing more than a boat anchor. That lady that's running for president talks about the $750. What about all that money you give to Ukraine and all these other people that really don't want to do anything to help us? Why don't you just give that money to them? That's who you wanted to give it to begin with.
And a lot of people have been turned down for the $750. Almost everybody I've spoken to hasn't received any of the funding, and they've been turned down for personal items.
Well, they talked about get on your phone or your computer. Do you not see what the devastation is? They don't have a phone or a computer.
There's nothing up here. There's no communication. I'm going to be posting this later. There's no way to access the internet unless you have a Starlink net. And everybody's...
Thank you, Elon Musk, by the way.
Oh, yes, thank you, Elon Musk.
President Donald Trump, we need you.
Message.
Think about that for a second. The irony. Oh, yeah, we're going to give you checks for $750. But, yeah, some of you are going to get rejected. And guess what? Some of you can't even apply because you don't have a computer. And you don't even have electricity. Okay? Everyone's computers have been washed away. The power centers have been washed away. So, yeah, you got to go find an Elon Musk Starlink to get plugged in. Complete devastation. This is just 3 hours ago. Ann Vandersteel posting this video. Downtown Biltmore Village is a total loss. She reports they pulled tons of bodies out of this river. Brace yourselves. So here is the video. Now, this is total devastation. I was talking to actually one of our moderators, assure you, and I don't know, am I allowed to disclose this? But I guess I'm going to. he's already informed me, because of his line of work, that the body counts are exceeding anything he's ever seen. Thousands of bodies, because that's his unfortunate line of work. Okay? From someone right there on the front line, a first responder. Take a look. This is downtown Biltmore Village. Now, I've never been there, but it's a total loss.
About 10 minutes later, they, is it leaving?
I mean, this goes on for about 5 minutes, and it just devastation, complete devastation. The landscapes of these towns have been completely transformed. The water and the erosion and the mudslides completely annihilating the landscape. I mean, if you looked at any before and after photographs of this area, it is unbelievable. Unrecognizable locations. Oh boy. We've got this here, in case you don't know, right? The White House, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they keep saying, no, we did not give, FEMA money wasn't diverted to illegal aliens. But thankfully, just a few hours ago, Libs of TikTok dug up this clip.
City leaders here.
The influx of migrants continues to have an impact across the nation, and certainly here at home in Colorado. Denver alone housing nearly 4,600 migrants right now. Other cities in the state stepping up to help, but they say they cannot do it alone.
And now nonprofits and local senators and representatives are asking for more help from the federal government. Fox 31 political reporter Gabrielle Franklin is on it. Gabrielle.
Yeah, Erica, it's something that city leaders here in Denver have been calling on for a while. More federal help from the government to aid migrants. Now the calls are growing louder and the patience is getting thin.
We have never received on the migrant response direct support from the federal government.
Amanda Blaurock is a co-founder of the Village Exchange Center in Aurora. The center helps anywhere between 500 to 700 families a week, providing wraparound services.
We do have support via the state, the Office of New Americans. We have about $250,000 that we received that came from the FEMA dollars of $2.5 million that came to the state. That money is used for our food pantry that helps supply hygiene products, our security guards, and also food to individuals that are here.
The funds they received from the state just started going towards their work in December.
I don't think we should leave Denver or Colorado and holding the financial end of the stick. The federal government needs to step in and help, and it should.
U.S. Senator Michael Bennet and
The U.S. government should step in. All these people just run across the border, and now they got nothing, and they just bleed FEMA dry. And now we got a 1-2 punch. We got Hurricane Helene completely devastating the landscape of the Southeast. And now we have Hurricane Milton, a Category 5, a hurricane unlike anybody has ever seen before, about to go right into the same area that was just devastated, where you already have first responders reacting to the last hurricane. You've got shipments going down from all over the country, heading into South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, to help those people. And Hurricane Milton is going to create even more problems, and it is set to hit landfall tomorrow evening. But of course, don't bring up the fact that FEMA bled their frickin' coffers dry on illegal migrants, asylum seekers, newcomers. I guess that's the PC terminology. We're not even allowed to say illegal alien on YouTube, I don't think, anymore. I think that's one of the reasons why we can't get remonetized, because we use the term illegal alien. So we'll just call them newcomers from now on. Okay. So we got the belt. We've got that. This is Mario Nafal. Bumpy ride into Hurricane Milton. NOAA aircraft Miss Piggy collecting some crucial data. This is a shot from inside the hurricane. I mean, look at that. Inside the Hurricane Milton.
147. Pretty good. 151. Pretty good. 145. I'm gonna grab my phone real quick. Yeah. Well.
I mean, how do these pilots even navigate? Anyone, if you're a pilot and you're watching this right now, can you explain to me how these planes can go into these winds? I mean, Milton is registering, I'm hearing, anywhere from 155 to 185 mile an hour winds. How are they doing this? Are they cloud seeding at the same time? Look at that shot. Wow. Those guys, I don't know, man. I don't know how they do it. Florida airports are shutting down due to Hurricane Milton.
As a result of shutdowns taking place at numerous airports in Florida ahead of Hurricane Milton, we're going to see an impact on our local airports. Zinnia Maldonado continues to join us live now from LaGuardia. And Zinnia, what are travelers expecting there?
Well, Cindy, at last look at the board here at departures, we saw 3 flights canceled going to Atlanta, Orlando, and of course, Tampa, all JetBlue flights, we should mention. And as more Florida airports continue to shut down over the next few days, travelers across the country, including right here in our area, can continue to expect more cancellations and delays. Now, Tampa International Airport shut down at 9 a.m. this morning. Officials say it will reopen once it is deemed safe to do so. The St. Pete Clearwater International Airport reports it will close later today, and the Orlando International Airport says it will suspend operations at 8 a.m. tomorrow. These closures important to keep in mind as it will affect flights coming in from Florida and the flights of those trying to make it back to the New York area. Here at LaGuardia, a total of 13 Tampa airport flights, this includes going and coming, have been canceled so far. Over at JFK, the number of Tampa cancellations stands at 9 total flights. And many, of course, will be keeping an eye on the Miami International Airport, where airport officials say they have not shut down. They will continue to monitor the hurricane before they make that decision.
So Miami Airport is still open, but it looks like most airports in Florida are shut down. The mayor of Tampa, appearing on CNN, says that Milton could wipe out Tampa.
If you, this is literally catastrophic. And I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Wow. I mean, that is an incredibly blunt message. And I know you have a lot of experience dealing with these storms. You don't say something like that lightly, Mayor.
I've never said that. And 10 to 12 foot surge. I mean, if this takes a jog to the south, that's going to save us from the storm surge, but it stays on the track that it's projected to be on right now, or if it goes a bit north, would be even worse. Some of the predictions are saying that Pinellas County, to the south of us, the entire county is going to be underwater. So this is something that I have never seen in my life. And I can tell you that anyone who was born and raised in the Tampa Bay area has never seen anything like this before. People need to get out.
And your message is just, this isn't survivable.
This, if we have that predicted storm surge, it is not survivable.
Can I ask you what that means for the general hospital there in Tampa? Because it's on a bit of an island.
And I'll tell you what it means, Caitlin. It means that people are going to die and the hospitals are going to be overwhelmed. Maybe you're shaving that unibrow too close. President Biden says the risk of political figures sharing misinformation about Hurricane Milton is real. It misleads people. It puts people in circumstances where they're panicked. Oh, they're always combating misinformation on every single front. Every time you push back against any official or approved narrative with facts or even opinions, it's misinformation. Don't believe the people on the ground. Don't believe the truckers who are uploading videos and talking about their tires getting slashed. Don't believe the people and the first responders and the sheriffs and the true victims who still have a little bit of electricity in their phone. They can record a video. Don't believe those people who are actually affected. Don't believe the drone overflights that are showing the mass devastation and the bodies everywhere. Don't believe your eyes. That's the message from the President of the United States.
To death. So what's the risk of political figures sharing misinformation during this time?
The past's prologue is real, but the fact of the matter is, I think we have, I've been able to contact all the governors. They are sticking up for what they've asked for. They're pointing out that they're satisfied with everything they're getting. But I can't speak for others on the internet.
Joe, you can't speak at all.
It's just, look, those who do it to try to damage the administration. Well, we can take care of ourselves.
No, Joe. We don't do anything to damage the administration. Your own actions damage your reputation. And we just tell people about it. Let's just make ourselves very clear, Mr. Biden.
But it misleads people. It puts people in circumstances where they panic, where they really, really, really worry. They think they're not being taken care of. And it really is, it's going to sound, I use an old phrase, it's un-American. It really is. People are scared to death.
It's un-American? It's un-American to present facts, opinion, have conversations with the American people? That's un-American? No, that is American. That's 100% American, Joe.
People know their lives are at stake. All that they've worked for, all that they own, all that they value.
So what's the risk of...
Let's see, we got Joe Biden spreading misinformation right there. MSNBC. Oh, speaking of misinformation, it's Bill Nye, the science guy. MSNBC brought on the hurricane expert. I should point out this man is not even a scientist. It's kind of like Bill Gates. To prove analysis on Hurricane Milton. Provide analysis. His message on how to stop hurricanes: vote for Kamala Harris.
Vote. The other side, as we often call it, has no plans to address climate change. No plans for long-term dealing with these sorts of problems. If you have young voters out there, encourage them to vote. People say, what can I do about climate change? If we were talking about it, associating it with big storms like this, that would be really good. But the main thing is vote. Thank you.
And Bill, very quickly, how much of an impact do you see climate change playing in all of these explanations that you've given us? How much do you see climate change as being a part of that?
Oh, it's no question, everybody. Look, in climate science, everybody has been studying this for years. Everybody has been commenting, scientific papers have been written about how warm the ocean is around the Florida Peninsula. And it's this warm water that is driving these storms and enabling it to have to intensify so quickly. Everybody, be careful out there. Let's get through this.
Bill Nye, I thank you so very much, my friend. Really appreciate your time. That wraps up the hour for me. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. You can always reach me on social media at...
No, I don't think we will, bro. Sorry, I get a little carried away sometimes when I see people spreading misinformation like that. People who aren't even actual science guys. If you're curious about what the Hurricane Milton's going to do to Florida, Libs of TikTok posted this CGI video, and it's terrifying. This is what you can expect.
Rise
And I remember
feet above normally dry ground.
This is a common thing we're seeing now with hurricanes and weather reporting. Now, my father, he lives in Cape Coral, and I remember he was here during the last major hurricane, and they were playing this same video on the news. We were watching it together, and they're estimating how high the water line was going to go, and it's like it was just like creating so much fear, anxiety. As I'm sitting with my father watching these videos, and then nothing happened. Nothing even close to this happened. But like the media loves to amplify these things. Here's a CGI. This is what it looks like. And then like nothing happens. But I'm not trying to downplay it, okay? I'm not trying to spread misinformation. That nothing's going to happen. Everyone should be prepared for anything. Anyway, sorry, let's go.
Is already life-threatening. It's too late to evacuate. Water this high can knock you off your feet, make cars float, and driving impossible. The first floor of homes and businesses are flooded. Unfortunately, the water is expected to rise even higher at 6 feet above the height of most people. Vehicles get carried away, structures start to fail. Just look at this. Anything could be in this water, sharp glass, debris, chemicals as well. The scary part is some areas could see surge values at 10 to 15 feet. And this takes us up to 9. And look what it does. At this level, the first floors of structures are completely flooded, and there are few places that it is safe when the water rises this high. We want everyone to know their evacuation zone, listen to local officials, and evacuate when ordered to do so. And Jordan, you made a great point last time. This is not just a calm water. You're going to have waves, even whitecaps on the surge inland.
It's going to be nasty. You could, trying to think that you.
I certainly hope that they're wrong. I really, really do. And everybody should be paying very close attention, not to Bill Nye, but to these, these are real predictions. Meanwhile, to show you just how inept our government is at response, this post about 10 hours ago, the government shipped up 3 pallets of electric chainsaws to us in a community without power. That's just how smart FEMA is. When they are not doling out disaster response based on gender and sexual identity, they are sending out electric chainsaws to places that can't even plug them in to charge them. What a waste of time and energy. Here you go, guys. You can get to work with, cutting down all those limbs of all those fallen trees. Oh, you don't have electricity? Yeah. So that's your government at work, friends. Right there. Perfect example of that. And then we've got, so Elon Musk put this tweet out. Now, it was a day ago, but it's worth bringing up. Good question. Why is funding for other countries being prioritized over Americans in dire need? Because we're under an America Last administration. Elon, it's pretty clear about that, right? Western Lensman posting this. Peter Ducey of Fox News asked KG why the Biden-Harris admin can send immediate funding to Lebanon without Congress coming back, but can't do the same for North Carolina. Let's hear the disinformation direct from the White House, shall we?
Just mentioned to the impacted areas, but instead people want to do disinformation, misinformation, which is dangerous. Because then when folks on the ground hear that, they may not want to ask for the help that they need. That is there for them. That's our focus here.
But President Biden is fond of saying, show me your budget and I will tell you what you value. If he's got money for people in Lebanon right now, without Congress having to come back, what does it say about his values? There's not enough money right now for people in North Carolina who need it. That's not misinformation.
Wait, no, that is your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir. What you do, yes,
Which
it's misinformation.
Is there money to send Lebanon right now?
I just mentioned to you that we provided more than $200 million to folks who are impacted in the area, and I just shared with you that people are deciding not to. People are deciding not to.
Letter to Congress that there's not enough money to help people in North Carolina.
We're talking about the SBA disaster loan.
That's money for people in North Carolina.
And that's important, and people in North Carolina need that. Wait, this is nothing new. Peter, this is nothing new. Congress comes together, they provide money, millions of dollars, for disaster relief. We're asking them to do the job that they have been doing for some time.
From a letter that President Biden sent to Johnson, McConnell, Schumer, and Jeffries. The president's letter is not misinformation. Would you agree?
No, the way you're asking me the question is misinformation. There's money that we are allocating to the impacted areas, and there's money there to help people who truly need it. There are survivors who need the funding, And
yeah, but they don't have an internet connection, Corrine.
Question that you don't like misinformation.
I actually said we have the money available to help survivors of Hurricane Helene and also Hurricane Milton. Now there's going to be a shortfall, right? Because we don't know how bad Hurricane Milton is going to be.
No, there's going to be a shortfall because you gave all the money to the the newcomers. You gave them those luxury houses up in Maine that Savannah showed us the other day. God.
And so we're going to need additional funding. That's
exactly what I just asked about. And you said it was misinformation. Yes.
What you're asking me is why Congress needs to come back and do their job. That's what you're asking me. Congress needs to come back and do their job and provide extra assistance, extra funding to disaster relief fund. That's what Congress needs to do, and we're going to continue to urge that. You may not want that, but that's okay. That's what this president wants, and that's what the vice president wants. Thanks, everybody.
And she's like, fuck you, I'm out. Boom. Right? Yeah, I just dropped an F-bomb. I don't like doing that, but it happens because these people drive me to curse. And thankfully, though, we have the memes. We have the memes, my friends, that make it all better. Here's a meme.
Israelis and Palestinians can live securely side by side in a lasting peace with equal measures of safety, opportunity, and dignity.
Yeah, whatever, Corrine. It reminds me of Beetlejuice for some reason. Okay, so we got Corrine spreading misinformation. Laura Loomer here dropping this bombshell. Buzzards are circling in Asheville, North Carolina area, eating the dead bodies of human beings and animals that still haven't been recovered after Hurricane Helene. This message was sent to me by a former police detective in Cock County, Tennessee. It is the last county in Tennessee before you get to North Carolina. Asheville, update, day 7. Buzzards everywhere. Just a reminder, I spent the morning helping a woman who runs multiple funeral homes. She had to use our Wi-Fi as none of her buildings have power. She said the refrigerator trucks are full. The refrigerator trucks in the hospital have almost 1,000 unidentified bodies. They can't cremate bodies as they have no power. They can't embalm because they have no water. They can't process paperwork due to no power. This is so much worse than anyone realizes it. And are they telling you these numbers? Are they telling you these numbers on the news? Remember, do you remember on CNN during COVID? Do you remember anytime you would turn it on, they had a body count? How many dead? They were just pumping those numbers up. They couldn't wait to tell you how many people died every single day during the pandemic. They wanted you locked down and terrified and masked up and jabbed up. That's what they wanted. So how come they're not doing that here? How come we're not seeing a constant body count number? Oh, maybe it's because it would harm Kamala Harris's chances to go into the White House. Maybe it would damage the reputation of FEMA. Maybe it would hurt Joe Biden's reaction to this hurricane, right? Wouldn't it? But no, during the pandemic, when Donald Trump was in office, that's all you saw. A big red screen with a death map and all these hot zones. People running around in hazmat suits. Lines. People sticking cotton swabs up their nose. The body count rising every single day. This is all Donald Trump's fault. Look at how he says China. He's a racist. But no, you don't see that now. And if you do bring it up, it's called misinformation, it's called disinformation, it's hurting the effort. No, you son of a bitch. We're calling you out. We are pulling the curtain back on your frickin' lies because the real mainstream media won't do their damn job. So you got people sending in text messages to Laura Loomer, who posted on X to get the word out. You got people like Shoryu messaging me on X, telling me how many bodies he picked up today. Crying because he's never seen this much devastation in his entire life. But you question it, and it's misinformation. It's hurting the effort. But during the pandemic, let her rip, baby. Here's a picture of some of those buzzards flying around that was sent to Laura Loomer. Yeah, they're looking for food. They're feasting on the cadavers of the lost who have not been recovered. Oh, man. I'm not even done yet with this segment. Not even done yet. The White House is outraged over the deliberate spread of information about Hurricane Helene and money being diverted to migrants.
100. Now, moving on to the Hurricane Helene. President Biden and Vice President Harris continue to use every tool available to help communities devastated by Hurricane Helene. Over the weekend, President Biden ordered another 500 active duty troops to move into western North Carolina, in addition to the 1,000 troops the president previously ordered to deploy to the state. This is on top of the more than 6,100 National Guardsmen and over 7,000 federal personnel, all working together with their state and local counterparts to help people begin their road to rebuilding. Over the last few days, the administration has contacted nearly 450 state and local officials across the region to offer further support. And to date, this administration has helped thousands of Helene survivors just jumpstart their recoveries, providing over $210 million in direct financial assistance, with more coming every day. As a president.
Oh, thank you, Joe. $210 million. How blessed are we? How much did you just send to Zelensky? Did he buy another mansion in Italy? Did his wife buy another Bugatti? I mean, what the hell? I don't care. $750 per person, first of all, is nothing. $210 million to this portion of the effort is still nothing. How much money total have we given to Ukraine to feed the war machine, to push us to the brink of World War III? You got Zelensky. he's in Pennsylvania signing freaking bombs with the governor. Yeah, this one's going to get dropped on some Russians. Can we have peace? Can we have peace? Yeah. No, that's what they want. They want to keep feeding the war machine. They want to keep feeding the military-industrial complex. Why? Because all that money comes back to the military-industrial complex, right? Congress takes the money. They send it to Ukraine, right? And then Ukraine says, "Oh, we need to have some more. We need to have more rockets and missiles and tanks and whatever. We need more bullets." And they place an order with Raytheon. Oh, yeah, Raytheon picks up the order over here in the United States. The money gets shot right back to them, and then Raytheon gives the kickbacks to all the politicians, and it just keeps on going. But when you have a situation like a hurricane, you see, it's not exactly the same. You don't have people building rockets and missiles and bombs and destroying things and building them. No, the destruction happens like that. And then they come in, drop off some cash. I mean, my wife and kids yesterday, they were working and they were loading a semi truck with goods going down to help the people with Moms of America. This was just yesterday. $210, 210 million, whatever, man. Whatever the number is, it's not enough. I mean, you can print it anyway, so what's the freaking matter? I'm getting worked up here, guys. Forget it. I don't want to listen anymore to what she's got to say. But I'm not done yet. I got so many clips here. Okay. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Watchdog uncovers $7 billion in untapped FEMA funds despite Mayorkas claiming none available. A DHS Inspector General report found over $7 billion in unliquidated FEMA funds, contradicting Secretary Mayorkas' recent statement that FEMA lacked the funds.
Are torching.
Okay, you don't believe me? Let's see what Fox Business has to say before you start claiming I'm spreading disinformation.
Program has been following the fallout for FEMA and getting help on the way. The trouble is, help isn't always on the way or even that affordable. They're growing back and forth on this about how FEMA is handling this. Chad, what can you tell us?
Neil, good afternoon. There is a lot of sniping over the politics of disaster relief. It's part of this year's elections. Lawmakers on the right are torching the administration. They believe the feds were not ready for Helene. This worries leaders as Milton bears down on Florida.
When you talk to the people who are directly affected, they will tell you that this has been an abject failure. FEMA has lost sight of its core mission, I think, in so many cases, and the administration has not shown that they were prepared for this this eventuality and this terrible disaster.
There are different budget lines for money which help cities cope with the migrant crisis and disaster aid, but some Republicans believe DHS is focused on resettling illegal immigrants and not on the storms.
Administration seems to have no problem finding money when they want to spend it on their priorities. When they need hundreds of billions of dollars to pay off student loans for graduate students in gender studies programs, they somehow find it. When it's trying to get helicopters to deliver food and water and cellular service and life-saving medicine into these mountain valleys, they somehow can't seem to find the money.
Nancy Mace of South Carolina wants to end help for migrants. She's written a bill to halt the program, but the administration pushed back on allegations that illegal immigration is draining disaster relief funds.
Just plain false. This kind of rhetoric is not helpful to people. You know, it's really a shame that we're putting politics ahead of helping people. We've had the local officials helping to push back on this dangerous, truly dangerous narrative that is creating this fear of trying to reach out and help us.
It's a dangerous narrative creating fear. That's your government masters there over at FEMA.
Mike Johnson is refusing to summon lawmakers back to Washington to deal with the dual disasters. He says Congress will address hurricane damage when lawmakers meet after the election next month. Neil?
Chad, program on Capitol Hill. Thank you, Chad.
Yeah, thank you, Neil Cavuto and Chad Pergram, for filing that report with the Next News Network. We've also got, take a look here, we've got Governor DeSantis, but first let's listen to some people on the ground. These are the people on the ground, folks.
I mean, what would your message be to Vice President Kamala Harris and to the White House? What do you have to say to them? I mean, she's spent time on, these shows, podcasts. You haven't seen the response. I know I've been up to Chimney Rock. I've never seen such devastation in my life. It looks like a war zone. I know people lost their life up there as well. What would your message be to her in the White House? Sean would like to know.
Where are you? Where are you? These people have lost their homes, they've lost their businesses, they've lost everything, and they need some support. They need help. And $750 is not much help.
Well, let me point this out to you, my friend. I know where Kamala Harris is. I know exactly where she is. She's in New York City. She's hanging out with her friends on The View. She's going on podcasts talking about tampons. That's what she's doing. That's what she's busy doing. Okay? While you guys are suffering, I mean, who can forget that the photo op? I think we got the photo op here. Or maybe that was yesterday. I don't know. All these days just blend together with this madness and insanity that we're forced to live through. God, come quickly, please. Let's see. Here is Ron DeSantis, real quick, talking with Fox and Friends about Hurricane Milton. Let's see what he was talking about here.
Well, I think as Janice mentioned, this is tracking very close to that Tampa Bay area. I would note that anyone on the western peninsula of Florida, just wherever that eye wall is scheduled to go across now on these cones, that can shift. I think right now they have it just south of Tampa Bay in Manatee County. It could shift further north, and it could shift further south in terms of having the most immediate impacts. But that Tampa Bay area is very low-lying. Pinellas County, where I grew up, is surrounded by water. It's a peninsula. It is just vulnerable to storm surge generally. This is a storm that's going to be hitting sometime Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. The water is already going to be high with the tide. So that's a huge, huge concern. Now, it had gotten up to 180 mile an hour when it was going towards the Yucatan Peninsula and the Gulf of Mexico. That is an incredibly powerful storm. It has weakened since then. It may strengthen today. The forecasts are that it will make landfall weaker than it is today. Let's pray that that's the case. The surge is going to be a big enough problem, and hopefully the winds are manageable. Most of the buildings in Florida are going to be able to handle a Category 3 storm. So there's a lot going on. And oh, by the way, we just had a Category 4 storm impact a lot of people up the west coast of Florida. One of the issues that we saw in places like the Pinellas County beaches and Manatee County beaches was there was a lot of debris. And these local governments have to pick it up. They have contractors that do it, but it wasn't being done fast enough. So I did this weekend. I took all of our state agencies, any truck we had anywhere in the state who's involved in normal missions. We diverted it over to those barrier islands. We're doing a 24/7 debris mission. So we've been able in 48 hours with our state assets be able to do as much debris removal as any of the contractors who've been doing this for almost 2 weeks. Wow. We actually had to pry open one of the landfills in Pinellas County because it wasn't operating 24/7 as my executive order did, but we've made a big dent in that. And the
doing more than FEMA's doing. Of course, Kamala Harris is at his throat. Yeah, they had a little spat. Here is KJP having a meltdown in her oversized suit and admitting that FEMA doesn't have enough funds to handle Hurricane Milton.
How bad Hurricane Milton is going to be. And so we're going to need additional funding. We're going to need additional funding.
That's exactly what I just...
We're going to need additional funding. There you go. And this is, look at that shot from space. That is Milton. That's from the International Space Station. I've never seen anything quite like that before. I mean, it kind of reminds me of that scene from Ferris Bueller when they're at the top of the Sears Tower and they're all leaning with their heads against the glass. And Ferris goes, "Everything looks so peaceful from up here," you know. And I think it's Cameron that says, yeah, everything's peaceful from 1,500 feet or whatever he says, right? But it looks beautiful, doesn't it? It looks beautiful. But down below, it's barreling towards Florida, and millions of people are scrambling and evacuating. Donald Trump news, Hurricane Milton has rapidly intensified into a Category 5, strongest ever recorded. Not a single weather model predicted the storm would strengthen this quickly. Do you believe this storm is completely natural? Elon Musk blasting Mayorkas. If you're paying attention, yesterday we disclosed that Mayorkas was caught in a luxury clothing store as people were suffering all around the United States because of these storms. But he was too concerned with getting some new fancy shoes. And Elon Musk decided to take him to task. Maybe Mayorkas could take a break from shoe shopping to look into this. Watchdog uncovers $7 billion in untapped FEMA funds, despite Mayorkas claiming none available. Yeah. So they got $7 billion in funds just sitting there. Mayorkas is going shoe shopping. They're giving out checks for $750. $210 million allocated. Meanwhile, the war machine continues to be fed. So as Hurricane Milton approaches and Helen's devastation lingers, we're left with a burning question. Where is the leadership? The shoe shopping? On podcasts, interviews, talking about tampons? Hanging out with the clucks on The View? Of course, there was a story about the military helicopters disrupting aid efforts. FEMA funds mysteriously unavailable. And who could forget the vice president more concerned with her designer belt that cost more than the checks they're handing out? So is this the best our government can do? Is this the best? Or are we witnessing a deliberate dereliction of duty? What do you think, America? Is this incompetence, or is there a more sinister agenda at play? Sound off in the comments below.